So good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Smith. I'm in the Plymouth County DA's office. I want to welcome you all here tonight, which is the future home of the Plymouth County Community Court Diversion Program, which will start officially this Friday. I want to thank the library. They've been a great partner in this initiative. Paul Engel and his team have been super supportive of this initiative. And I've been very lucky to have worked with the DA's office and a great team of people in the community and within our office to help start this program. So we're excited to get it started. And tonight we're going to hear some public remarks from DA Cruz, from Mayor Sullivan, from Jen Sprague and Jeremy Kuzman from the DA's office. We have Jasmine Bradshaw, the Director of Social Services. We have Tim Carpenter, who's the Superintendent of Parks. So our goal tonight is just kind of share some information about the program, answer any questions that you have, and hear any feedback. And again, welcome all of you to come back on Friday at 12:30 to see the first event. So I'm first going to have Mayor Sullivan say a few words, and then I'll turn it over to DA Cruz. So thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I want to first of all welcome you all here today. I want to thank the DA, City Council President Jeff Thompson, the team from the DA's office. I know Jim Frazier's here from the Sheriff's office, and he does a lot at City Hall a couple days a week to help those that are just coming out from incarceration. DPW Pat Hill will be speaking, DPW Commissioner Jasmine Bradshaw again from my office, Director of Social Services, and Tim Carpenter. I mean, at the end of the day, I support this wholeheartedly. This is something that the DA has really been working hard on for a long period of time. It is a humane approach. It's an approach that's going to be beneficial to the community and also the individuals that are going to be going through the community court program. The fact that it's here in a less scary setting as opposed to across the street or Superior Court, I think is very, very helpful. But I've said this before, and listen, I'm not running again, right? My name wasn't on the ballot yesterday, first time in 20 years. It was a good feeling, I'll be honest with you. But I just want to say that at the end of the day, I've said this, I'm the mayor of everybody. Everybody in the city of Brockton, 106,000 residents, those that have a roof over their head, that they're privileged to have a roof over their head, and those that are homeless, that are dealing with being out on the street. And there's really a variety of reasons of why people are on the streets, right? I mean, very, very few people choose to be on the streets. A small fraction of a percentage. But we know that substance abuse and alcohol abuse and mental health, behavioral health issues, and really, you know, we have to continue, we, the big we, as a community, and the DA has been really unbelievable. Tim Cruz doesn't have to have an office in Brockton. He's Plymouth County DA, but he chooses to be in the heart of the city. So I see him walking all the time. And Jasmine Bradshaw, my Director of Social Services, is out there every single day. Now, is it a cure-all? Can we fix the problem tomorrow with a magic wand? No, we cannot. We cannot. But we are going to continue to help people that need help. And also at the same time, it's a slippery slope of trying to juggle quality of life issues. Driving here tonight, I called Brian Arnelli, our fire chief, and said, please get Brewster Ambulance to Court Street. There's too many needles under the bridge. There's too many needles. Too many kids are walking in Plymouth Academy in the morning, and it's just not anything that any young child needs to experience or an adult. So part of our contract with Brewster, because they're our ambulance provider, EMS services, that they pick up needles. So I know folks travel around the city to try to help and make a difference, and it's many hands make light work. But I really just want to thank you, Mr. Smith, for your diligence on this. I'm really excited to hear what the panel has to say, the DA. But I can tell you right now that we meet once a week. The we is Tim Carpenter for Parks, Pat Hill, DPW, and then a guy named Jim Plouffe from the building. And it's called the Clean City Meeting, and we've been doing it for 5 years now. And we will continue to try to handle the encampments in a manner that is humane and appropriate, giving appropriate notice to people, handling people under the bridges in a humane way as well. But this court is going to be a game changer, and it's going to be a lifesaver for many, many people. So I'm excited to be here. I only have 3+ months, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm a Brocktonian, and my kids are here, and my wife is here, and we need to continue to roll up the sleeves and keep the eyes on the prize and help people, because we're in the people business. Thank you all. God bless. Thank you, DA.
I think I introduced Pat Hill, and I apologize. He's been a great partner.
He was happy. He said maybe
we met early
I
on, and everyone in the city has been great to work with. And I want to turn it over to DA Cruz now.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Mayor. I appreciate everybody's here tonight. I know some people that have worked on the task force to put this together. are here tonight, and I think it's really, once again, it's got to be everybody working together. The only way that this community diversion court is going to work is if everybody is working in the same direction. For those that don't know, there are not many of these across America. There's 34 community diversion courts across America. We are the first one in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. When we started looking at this program, probably a year and a half, 2 years back, we sent a team out to look at the other places, how they were working, because we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. What works in certain areas, what can we try to do, how can we make sure that we're going in a positive direction. And the work was really endless for a lot of the people that were there. We got Jeffrey, and he's done an incredible job, as well as many people from my office, from the Sheriff's Department, from the Mayor's office, obviously, making a difference here, I think, in this community. That's what this is going to be. We received approximately a year ago a 4-year grant for $900,000, and it's like, in the big picture of grants, that's not a lot of money. That's like 200 and some odd thousand a year, at which we pay salaries of some people. And we're also trying to make sure that we deal with, as the mayor said, the significant issues and consequences that we see all around us on a daily basis. And unfortunately, we see all too often in the court system. The court system is and was the depository of criminal justice problems. Everything comes in. You have drug issues, mental health issues, people who need health issues. And when you look at the people who are coming into that court system sometimes and dealing with their frailties of life as to what they're facing, have they lost their job, are they on the streets? Like the mayor said, not everybody wants to be on the streets, although some people do. And that's something that we want to change. That's what I hope that this program is going to be able to do, because you don't have to be arrested to be involved in this program. You don't even have to be charged to be in this program. Anybody outside can walk in here. And when we have our soft opening on Friday at 1 o'clock here, anybody can walk in here if they want help. And if they need help for their drug issue, for their mental health issue, we're trying to stop people being involved in the court across the street. That if we can provide resources to somebody and keep them out of the criminal justice system, then we win. And we have a lot of people right around here that significantly need our help. So, the true program, when it gets up and running, like I said, there's 3 different ways. You can walk in, you can be referred here by law enforcement or by fire departments or EMTs, or you can also commit one of the crimes that fit the parameters that bring you into this court session. And then you're not going to be found guilty right away, but you're going to be put on pre-trial probation to try to help you in mandate, because the one thing that we learned, and the one thing that works, is accountability. People have to be held accountable. There's not consequences if it doesn't work. We've seen it in the variety of the other courts that we deal with, whether it be drug court, where somebody gets involved in the drug world, and they're over there in the district court, and they're dealing with drug issues, and they end up having dirty urine, and they end up going to jail. That works. We're not looking to put people in jail, but we're not afraid to do that if it helps them, and if it's also going to drive down the plight and the problems that we're dealing around, not just here in Brockton, but throughout our county and throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We can look, I really believe that we can be an example of what's going on up in Boston. We're much smaller than that. Let's work together. Let's make sure we're all rowing in that same direction. And if we do that, I think we'll be able to help them. We just recently got a case manager that was hired by one of our sub-ward partners at the Old Colony Y. That person's going to play a key role in gathering information on the participants and working with the probation department across the street to draft the appropriate thing that they can do. How can we make sure that we help people get them the help that they need, and how can we make sure they don't re-enter our system, which is what we don't want. Brockton is a great city, and it has been for a long time, and it's had its challenges like every urban community has. And we need to make sure that we're bringing everybody together so that what we're really doing is we are reducing harm to the community. That's what I want to see, not just potentially one person. We want to help everybody. We're going to help them by getting them housed. We're going to help them by getting them mental health treatment. We're going to help them by getting them drug treatment for the problems that they face. And we're going to make sure that we use this court as best as we can. I can't thank some of the people in this room enough that have come to our meetings, that put their opinions on the table and say, this is what works, this is what we need to do. And by doing that, I think I'm very optimistic that we'll be in a different spot 6 months from now or a year from now as we look what's going on. I also want to thank Councilor Thompson's here and dealing with a lot of the ordinances that they were working. The City Council worked hard this year trying to put things together. What can we weave together with this? How can we make it all work together using our general laws, using our ordinances, and also using, as the mayor said, the humane approach to help people that need the most. That's all this is. I don't get, you know, people say, oh, Cruz, you just want to throw people in jail. You know, I've been the DA now for 25 years, and it's been an incredible journey for me. When we have an opportunity to help somebody stay out of the system, that is when we win. That's what I've learned. And I hope that we're going to be able to continue going forward, and I'm really looking forward to this thing getting up and running. So with that, I'll stop talking. I've gone too long as usual, and I'll kick it back to Jeffrey, who's done a great job, who we've known for a while, who everybody that I talk to see what a rock star he is, and I agree.
So as the mayor mentioned, Jasmine Bradshaw has really been a pioneer. She's out in the streets every day. She's picking up needles. She's bringing people Gatorades and toiletries, and she does a great job. So I wanted to turn it over to her to see a few remarks and maybe kind of speak to the state of the state right now in the city of Brockton.
Sure. So thank you for having me, and thank you for including me in the process of working on the community court. A lot of the work I do every day is with our unhoused population, or people that are on the verge of becoming unhoused. A lot of what we are seeing is housing instability, people in need of detox services or long-term addiction treatment services, people that are in need of some type of financial supports to be able to maintain housing, people that are looking for employment, and then, as mentioned, sometimes people that just have opted to be outside for various reasons. That could be mental health, that could be things that have taken place, or occasionally we get the feedback that it's just what is preferred. And everyone has the autonomy to make those decisions, but what we try to do is work with people to ensure that they have the resources if they choose to go a different path, that they are able to do that. A lot of what we have been doing in the past 4 years, about 4 years that I've been in the office, is working with those that are at the encampments, that when an encampment is identified as a concern, we go out, we provide notice, and then we work with them on relocation, providing resources, and then if it gets to that point, having DPW and the Parks Department come in and clean. It isn't a process that brings them joy. I would like to clarify that for everybody, that we've gotten some pretty poor feedback when we talk about these different things or when the ordinances came up. But it is a process that is necessary. So a lot of these encampments that we're locating, that we are identifying and have to clean, are very large. They go unnoticed for long periods of time, or they're located on school properties, and it causes safety risks to the students that are in the area. But a lot of what we notice is excessive trash. Sometimes there's fires. We'll find propane tanks. A lot of syringes will be left behind. So what happens is we go out, provide a notice that documents the date. For our record-keeping purposes, just who's there, that isn't shared with anybody, the location, and then they get 48 hours to remove any belongings that are there. In the grand scheme of things, just because of staffing and stuff, it is usually a little bit longer than that. But the idea is they get 48 hours for due process to make sure that they can remove their stuff, it doesn't get thrown away. We then schedule a day to go out and clean. The cleaning takes place. Sometimes that requires machinery, lots of staffing to ensure that it's done in a timely manner, and a lot of work. It can be climbing over hills, going really deep into the woods, trying to maneuver around water, those types of things. Sometimes it's trying to figure out how to remove things that have caught fire and are now a safety concern, as like some trees sometimes look like they might fall. There's a lot that goes into the planning process for that, and I can let Tim and Pat speak more to that. But we do very heavy resource delivery, and we are constantly trying to get people to take those resources. And we get a lot of pushback. Not everyone wants them. Not everyone wants to work with us specifically. Sometimes it's a matter of bringing people that are more familiar faces to them. We do a lot of work with other agencies to try to see who might be a better fit to work with someone if that happens. A lot of coordinated outreach with other agencies. But we've been very successful, I would say. There's still a lot of work to be done, but there's also a very large lack of housing. Within the last couple months, so since July 1st, we've been keeping track since then, we have housed through our office, as of this morning, it would be 17 people. So those are people coming directly off of the street. These are people that are not entering shelter. The problem then comes in because people tend to notice how someone, it kind of seems like more people show up. But that is also sometimes a testament to the work that's being done. People hear that people are getting housing here, or they'll hear like they're getting housing in Boston. You'll see people kind of migrate over time to go to where resources are more available to them. Currently, the shelter is not turning people away, even if they're not from this area. But the Mainspring Shelter, the new HRC program, serves specifically 12 surrounding towns. So that is the way that the shelter has been broken up by state funding. There's been a lot of talk of what others, like towns in the area, can do to support that process. The state delegation has had those conversations with us. Council has been fantastic as far as trying to lead some of those conversations. But there's just a lot of gaps that need to be filled and things that we don't really have an answer for yet. And while this isn't the longest term solution, it's a solution to at least keep places clean. And as the DA had mentioned, to also hold people accountable. When you're keeping your space clean, people are less likely to complain, less likely to want you to be moved, and less likely to notice you. And that's been a big thing as well. Pat's team has been fantastic. They have brought me trash bags to be able to give to people, and they tell them and leave them at the road, they pick them up. And simple things like that are really helpful as far as maintaining some of the issues we're seeing. DW right now is a really hard hit location that we have. Some of the areas in DW are pretty bad. There's been a lot of fires. But we are working on a coordinated effort between multiple departments to address that. My hope is to be able to avoid a lot of those people having any type of criminal offenses, but there is a chance that could happen, especially with lighting fires. And the hope is that those people will voluntarily access the community court on Friday. But there is a chance that as we do outreach, there'll be people that will not, and they'll be sent there even if they don't want to go. But I've met with a lot of the providers, the staff that's going to be there, and I just think that this is going to be a really great initiative that will change a lot of what's happening and what we're seeing. And I'm just looking forward to seeing a difference and having that outcome. There's been a lot of work put in different fields, and it'll be nice to see it all just come together.
Thanks, Jasmine. Tim and Pat an opportunity to speak if they wish, but I wanted to share that when I met with them both earlier this year, I was so impressed with how professional they were, and they were never like walk these individuals up. They're talking about being on board with the court and how can we help this population, and they oftentimes are left with some of the most challenging work in the community as far as going in and cleaning up these areas. So very impressed with their professionalism. They've been partners with this initiative from day one. And again, no pressure to speak if you don't want to speak, but I wanted to turn it over to both of you to see if you wanted to share a few words or any updates on your departments.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, a lot of this work that we do is kind of coordinated through Jasmine, Tim, and myself. I like to think that we kind of created a relationship amongst the unhoused people where, the process that takes place in our departments, the cleaning, the moving people, has, we've developed a relationship with these people where it's not always argumentative, where they know that we're trying to do the best for everybody, we're trying to do the best for the city. And for the most part, they do understand that the situation that they've created themselves is problematic. So, I can't say enough about the work that Jasmine does, but it's just a start, and the idea of this court having some kind of impact on the unhoused community, giving them opportunities to get better, I think is a step in the right direction.
So just to add to that, I guess, Tim Carpenter, Superintendent of Parks for the City of Brockton. Clearly, it is properties that I oversee that are affected the most. They are the open green spaces. They are the spaces that provide opportunity for unhoused to establish home, for lack of a better term. I would like to say Jasmine is an incredible asset to the city. The work she does is incredible. And as Pat mentioned, the partnership that sort of his department, my department, and Jasmine have created is, in my opinion, hugely beneficial. And while maybe it doesn't move as quickly as we would like to see it move, and as quickly as We are making strides, in my opinion, to try and clean up some of these areas. It is a difficult situation, at least I'm not going to speak for Pat, but you know, I've spoken to my employees. It is a difficult situation that my employees find themselves in. It's not something they like doing, cleaning up homeless encampments. They don't. It's a difficult situation. You're dealing with people sort of at a low point, I think, and I think from a compassionate standpoint, my employees really do feel that. I think that's sort of something that's important to have out there. And to be perfectly honest with you, the work is not pleasant either. A lot of the things that we come across are really gross. And I won't go into detail, but they are. Pat's employees, my employees, they do a terrific job with dealing with a lot of that. Again, you know, it is not an easy situation, and if this community court can help direct people to services so that maybe they're not on the street, I think maybe it shines a little light at the end of that tunnel.
I want to introduce Jen Sprague, who's my boss, and I'm not going to call on her to say a few words, but she is the, you know, the brains along the DA and the rest of the DA's office in getting the grant, so she's going to be available for questions. I want to just remind everyone that it's 12:30 this Friday. We're going to have 30 community service agencies in this room and in the room across the hall, where we'll be able to connect people to substance abuse and mental health treatment, vocational training, to the faith-based community. So we're excited about that. And I think at this point I want to turn it over to the crowd, and the small crowd, I guess. But answer any questions you have or anything we can clarify about the court leading up to its opening.
Ages, is there an age limit on who can come to the community court?
So it won't involve juveniles, but anyone over 18 is welcome. At this point, that could expand at some point, but for right now, it's just focused on adults.
I think if you're a family and you have a juvenile, like, you could still come here to access treatment, but as far as people being court ordered, there wouldn't be juveniles at this point. Any questions? Councilor Thompson?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Thompson, Brockton's Ward 5 City Councilor. First, I just want to, give a big thanks to you, Coordinator Smith, District Attorney Cruz, for, putting out a request for this type of grant and putting this together. A lot of work has been done over the last few months to stand this court up, and I was proud to be a part of that effort. I think just over the last few minutes, we heard from the panelists and our really dedicated city officials and department heads about a little bit of the work that they do to deal with some of the homeless issues that we find ourselves dealing with throughout the city. As it's been said, we're not looking to arrest or jail our way through this problem. What we're trying to do is create resources so that people who are involved with this court can, find a pathway, hopefully to rehabilitation and try to save their life. I have one quick question. I know through our Facebook post that both you, Coordinator Smith, and you, 88 Sprague, met with Brockton Police Department at roll call to speak with them about this court. I'm just wondering maybe you could provide a little feedback on that discussion, how it was received by the Brockton Police Department, what their intentions are to enforce our quality of life ordinances. I know one of the big issues and why we're standing up this court is that there really was no apparatus in place that deals specifically with these quality of life type of issues. Now, and that kind of prevented, it was a factor weighed when determining whether to cite people under the ordinance. Now that we have this court in effect, maybe, if you could provide some feedback on their willingness to now enforce our ordinances and, how we're going to move forward with the Brockton Police Department. Thank you.
I thought the roll call presentations went really well. All of the officers seemed very receptive to the program. They had a lot of great questions, and They particularly liked our referral system in which, you know, they could come across someone who might not be committing an offense at the moment, but clearly is in need of help, and that they can use this referral system to give them the dates and the location of the community court, and you know, they could come in and get the help they need. And there's a QR code on our referral form where the officer can scan that, put in the information so we know to expect the people and how many people we're going to be having. But then, you know, they also like the option that if that person doesn't follow up and that they know they didn't follow up, then some accountability comes into play, that when they do see them the next time committing an offense, maybe they get involved in the court diversion program that way. But it is a good option to have a good tool in their pocket for when they're out on the streets interacting with people on a daily basis, especially in the downtown area, where, like I said, maybe someone's not committing an offense, but clearly needs some referrals and some help, and they can, instead of having to go to so many different places to get the help they need, because most people don't just have one issue, they have, you know, drug dependency, they're unhoused, they maybe have mental health issues. This is a great program because you can get everything all in one place, and they really like that as well. Did you want to add anything, Jeff?
No, I thought it went great, very receptive. We did 3 roll calls at Brockton PD. We've also been to Abington and the Bridgewaters. And I think all of our law enforcement partners are excited to work with us, and I think excited to have another alternative than arresting somebody. So we're hopeful that the referral process will be a mechanism to get people help. And if they don't follow through, we can coordinate, communicate with the officers and let them know that they didn't follow through. And perhaps next time it may be a different outcome. That's obviously up to them, but that was our message to them.
Great, thank you for that.
Hi.
Hi, thanks. So with the community agency, are any of the state agencies also going to be here? Just because we're lucky in Brockton that we have ETA, we have the Department of Mental Health, we have ETA, so if we're dealing with folks that, and then we also have DHCD that helps with shelter. So if we're dealing with folks that need this service, are they also going to be here to provide this service? Because oftentimes, most of the folks under the bridge or out in the streets, they are already working with at least DTA, for sure, they're working with DTA. And so especially now that DTA is rolling back a lot of their requirements to continue benefit, will they also be here to be kind of a resource and referrals for those individuals?
So the DTA isn't here at the table yet, but we're happy to engage them. DMH is involved, they've been involved in our advisory board, they'll be present as a resource. We also have a partnership with the Community Justice Support Center, and we have staff that here from that agency tonight. And they'll be able to help reactivate Mass Health, and I think SNAP benefits too, is that correct?
Yeah.
So if someone came in and, into the session and one of the barriers was their Mass Health lapse, they didn't renew it, we should be able to help them activate that right away, which will help their exposure and their access to services.
I'm sorry, who did you say will be helping with SNAP benefits?
It's the Community Justice Support Center. It's up on Torrey Street. It's a kind of run by state probation and Will Colony Water.
So they will be doing the application, they're not gonna be,
So I can help them with the application, and then I have access to go in, and sometimes they send letters out, obviously they'll have the address. So I can either reapply them, or, go through their letters and see what was sent out to whatever address they want here, so. It's their decision if they reactivate it or what we have to do, but I can definitely go in by their social.
so I know with the school department, I work for DTA. So for the school department, we have somebody that's directly at the school department that helps parents with DTA benefit for the families. I think it would be great to reach out to DTA. I know we're always welcome to come out and train people, but also have one of our liaison there to help people, because it'll be easier for us. Like, we can activate a case within 2 seconds versus going through the process of having you send it over to our workers for our workers to review it, which can take days because we're so back up. I just feel like because we have the privilege of having a lot of state agencies here, they should also be here at the table, because we interact with these folks daily. Like, if anything, I think they interact with DTA more because they need their SNAP benefits, because that's how they're gonna eat, versus anybody else. The other folks that I wanted to know if they will be involved is the health center, since again, most of them are going to the health center to get their medical service.
Yeah, so we did engage the health center, and they offered the services of their mobile clinic, which I think is located close to here on Fridays. And they, encouraged us to make referrals. They weren't interested in being involved in our advisory board, and we respected that. But they told us to consider them a partner, and we're hopeful that, if the mobile clinic is close by on Fridays, that it might be something we can access as well. And I would want one follow-up point. We are hopeful to get the registry of motor vehicles involved, maybe help people with mass IDs. That's kind of on our wish list.
That's gonna be my next question,
But
is how
if you-
we are identifying who, most of them might not have IDs with them or any paperwork with them. So how are we identify that John Smith was the right John Smith that got ticket or got issue or warning or whatever? How are we making sure that we assisting the right person if they don't have IDs? So that was my thought.
Yeah, I think the people coming to the court system will have a process of, verification. People that are referred, we're asking for, the date of birth, and the officer will be probably getting their ID, or maybe the officer knows them firsthand. But we won't, we're gonna be circling back with the officer if someone doesn't show up or they do show up. But to answer your question, I don't know that we, 100% can confirm that it's Jeff Smith. I think our win with someone showed up here, we can access them, get them connected to treatment. We're gonna consider that a victory. But I think it's important to note that we remain flexible and open to feedback, and the DA's been pretty clear that we're not starting this program with a blueprint where everything has to be executed perfectly. We want to hear from the community. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from the community, and if we're 3 months down the road, we need to do something different. I think we have the support from the DA to do something different. We want it to be effective.
And along those lines, we're open to change and mixing things up. Initially, in the charges that were qualifying offenses for the court program, we didn't have anything to do with burning property, burning anything. But I came across a police report where someone was unhoused, a double amputee, had set fire to something, but to keep warm. And so I thought, this is somebody who could benefit from this program. So I talked to the DA, and he was on board with, adding that to the qualifying offenses, as long as there's, no victim is hurt and there's not serious property damage, and this isn't someone who's, there's a difference between arson and trying to keep warm. So that's something we added to our list. So we're open to change, we're open to ideas. If anyone has any suggestions, just let us know.
Any other questions? Oh, sorry.
Will the QR code be open to nonprofits? Will nonprofits be able to do the referrals as well?
Yes.
Going back to the IDs, so I work in the sheriff's department, we do help people get mass IDs and birth certificates, so I'll be here Friday. If someone needs help with that, they can talk to me about it. It's actually a pretty simple process. We're in contact with the RMV, so we don't actually have to go into the office and do it. We do a kind of streamlined system that we have with them, so it's been pretty successful. We get inmates in the jail IDs all the time. And then going back to your liaison from the schools, she does I'm assuming we're talking about the same person, she does an excellent job of signing people up with DTA. We've signed numerous people up that have come out of the jail, and she's probably, I was just talking about her the other day, she's probably the most reliable person that I've worked with. She's
Talking about Janice, right?
Yeah, I'm
She's
talking
the
about
best,
her, but
yeah.
we have so many other workers that we put in the community to help with those things. And I think that would be a good add-on to this one, to have somebody from DTA that can, again, and we also have access to the registry, so oftentimes when our clients come in to get an EBT card and they don't have an ID with them, we have access to the registry, so we can look them up and see if they ever had an ID or if they have an active ID, we can see it there too. So that might be a way too to connect folks while working with the sheriff's office, but at least, like if DTA is here, then they can look the person up on file and say, oh, you have an ID.
It'd be great if we could connect at the end of the meeting so I could get some contacts from you. And I noted you're from the school department. I want to share that we're also doing a partnership with the Brockton High School. We work with Principal McCaskill to get the students to design what we hope will be our artwork and our logo for the community court. So if you've seen any of the posters around the city right now, that's my work, and it's not great. But I assure you that by the end of October, we'll have some work from our talented students at Brockton High, and a great opportunity for us to engage them in the process. Two people that I didn't introduce, I want to introduce is Colleen Page is the ADA Brockton District Court, who will be the lead, and she'll be handling these cases at the court. And Lindsay Smith is the supervisor at Brockton District Court, is that correct?
Yes.
So it'll also be involved, so. Any other questions?
That's one of the questions. What if someone comes into court and they have an open warrant? How is that handled?
So they'd have to deal with that with the court, and
Okay.
that of course is up to the judge. You know,
Okay.
they look at, you know, what's the charge of the warrants for, what the person's record's like, what their issues are, and then that's completely up to the judge, whether they, you know, post bail, they set bail, they hold them in custody, you know, all of that's up to the judge. But if they're able to clear up their warrant, as long as the open offense isn't a crime of violence, they can participate in our program.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't want to talk this way. I saw somewhere that this is mandated. So, oftentimes, like, with mental health and substance abuse, the person has to be ready to go into treatment in order for it to work. So if the person is not willing to participate at that point, then what happens?
Well, I'm not going into that.
Sure, yeah, so if the person, first of all, the person has to opt into the program if they come in through the court system. So when they're arraigned at the district court and it's a qualifying offense or an offense we think is appropriate for the court, they could be offered the community court diversion program. They can decide to take it, and if so, they sign up and they come to our program. If they decide it's not for them, then their case just reverts back to the district court and they proceed in the normal track. And if they don't want to participate in the program, no one's going to force them.
Can I just add something in? Just kind of going back to the IDs and stuff like that. We also have a social services liaison named Tori McDonald that recently started in our office. He was hired to directly oversee a diversion to care grant that the city received. We have a ton of funding available to help with purchasing birth certificates, IDs, and a bunch of other different things, paying for sober housing, stuff like that. So we are currently working on solidifying the budget for this year for that, and the kind of like the partnerships for that. So if you have people that are in need of any of those services, please direct them to our office or to Jim Frazier. He's been great as far as partnering with us on that, but we want to make sure that that funding is used. Anything we don't use gets sent back. And then we also just opened our portal for the opioid settlement funds for within the city. We're going to be doing grants. You can apply through October 10th, and then a committee, including someone with lived experience in the community, is going to be reviewing those. But those are really good funding opportunities that we want to kind of make sure are working in collaboration with all the other efforts that are going on. But definitely the funding we have available if we're seeing people, and I'll be here Friday for the court. But definitely please send them our way so that we can get those connections done. And that is an open door at any time, so.
Questions, do you have a question?
Yes, hi, Betsy Rivera. I do outreach for Stairway to Recovery, Peer Support Recovery Center. So first of all, I want to thank you guys. What you said especially touches me. I know it's not an easy job. I do outreach. I'm out in the parks. I know a lot of people in this community. I went to school with a lot of people that are out there right now, and I know what you do is very difficult. It can be a very grimy task, and a very thankless one sometimes too. So I commend you guys for that and all that you do. Outreach, I feel, is a huge thing. It's not just about the outreach, but hopefully having people out there that have lived experience, that are able to kind of connect with people in this community, because, you know, we all know there's a distrust when it comes to law enforcement and certain things. So it kind of makes it hard because they're in that survival mode, you know? And so on top of that, and being, first of all, being ready, being able to accept what you're trying to offer, as well as where most of these people have dual diagnosis, they've suffered trauma while they're out there, so it's a huge thing. So I feel that, like I said, is what is it exactly, or what do you guys kind of have in place as far as outreach goes is one, and two, with the diverse community that we serve, you know, I know it was brought up before at the last meeting as far as the languages, having people that can translate what people can, because I've literally spoken to people out there that know no kind of English, and even when I happen to, you know, pop into another language with them, because I speak to other languages, you know, and they're like, oh my goodness, and they're like, well, no one understands me, and I'm trying to, you know, so all that stuff culminated, where are you guys at on that point as well?
I think we have a lot of agencies that can offer services in different languages. I think we'll probably have to use like a translator service, like a telephone service, if people come in and we can't meet their needs.
Right.
But we, you know, like a lot of the agencies that we partnered with and that are gonna be here on Friday can offer services in a lot of different languages, or they don't have a clinician in that language, they can use that service as well. And as far as the lived experience piece, we've been working with people with lived experience and our advisory board and other roles that we played in the session itself, because we value that as well. I mean, obviously, people are always gonna look at the DA's office as like a law enforcement agency and stuff, so we've been able to consult with people like that, and we'll have people involved that will, you know, help build trust between what we're doing and the purpose of the court.
Jeff also came and did outreach with us a few times, and we have some more planned. But Jeff coordinating the court made an effort while we were out, was actively interested in what we do on a regular basis, was cleaning up syringes with us, you know, kind of walking through those areas that other people might try to avoid. But I got to be present for a very like in-depth conversation that he had with somebody that we know has a lot of medical issues and is in serious need of housing. And it was just really nice to see him take that time to sit with someone and really go through that process. Because it's one thing for me to do that during the day because that's what I do. But for someone from a court angle, for people to see that openness to listen to them, I think that was really important. And we've gotten a lot of questions from people in the area about like what you guys are kind of doing and like what's going on since then.
Right.
And they were just excited to see new faces. So that's been really nice. And it was exciting for me because I like when people have good responses for us. So.
So I grew up in Whitman, and this individual is from Whitman, so I recognized him, we had a conversation, so, you know, I think.
It's always nice when you can kind of get something.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, Alex, go ahead.
Say something. Yeah, I was on the streets myself, so I know a lot of people out here. You know, I got sober for 7 years now, a little older. And I actually, I don't know if this is my goal, but I think everyone knows. I don't get along with everybody, but I think we all have the same goal. And we need to help people that are on the streets, that are literally putting needles in their arms. Kids are going by. I mean, I've had family members come here, and they won't come to the north side anymore. They will not, because my aunt saw like an 18-year-old kid put a needle in his arm, and she almost crashed, like she was horrified. This is my great aunt, you know, she's never seen anything like that in her life. She doesn't even know I shot up like that, so I've never even told her that. But I have heard, you know, when I talk to people, because I'm now advocating, so I'm signing up people to advocate, so when they go to, say, somebody like City Hall, or they go to Stairway, a lot of times they don't do the paperwork after, and they can't follow them around, they can't go to the doctor's appointments, but where I don't know business, I can. And I have before already, so I started doing that, signing people up for that, just to let everyone know. I'm gonna be going to multiple cities, New York City on the 11th, I'm going to Washington DC 17th, then Brockton the next week, and then Austin, Texas the week after that. I'll be cleaning for 24 hours straight, live streaming, talking with homeless people from other cities, but also bringing up Brockton and shining a light on Brockton. That's why I want to go to major cities and then do Brockton in the middle. Be like, this is a city too, and we need help. And the only time we get recognized is bad things with students or something. They don't put on like Brockton, you know, the family fun day or something, you know, so they don't show the good side. So I think this is something that we could do. I think we have to be aggressive with it also. There are certain people, I think we need to make a list of priorities down, because there are people out here that have to be off the street. There's people beating up women every night, pimps, taking money from. I took the live stream off there just because I was talking with somebody who I signed up, and it was too personal, and I can't, you know, I won't ever put somebody on like that. So I did take it off, but when I was cleaning on the bridge, like DPW cleans the bridge, but then, you know, 2 hours later, they're under there, and it was, so I started cleaning again, because there was like 20 needles, and, you know, a guy came up, and he was like, you know, there was a girl in the corner doing drugs, and, you know, he got aggressive, and I finally said something, like, bro, go away. And he did, thank God. I don't want to fight anybody, but, it's bad out there right now. I think it's gotten a lot worse with men taking money from women. It's the new thing out there now, and it's like, I don't understand it, but yeah, pimping is the new thing. And they're trying to get the girls, and there's multiple girls with one guy. You know, he's taking all their money. And the girls are telling me this, so, you know, and I don't know how to deal with it. I'm not a professional. I don't get paid for any of this. I just was homeless, you know, and it's like, I gotta do something. But I do think that we can all work there. You know, I'm not the easiest one to work with, I'm not gonna lie. I'm very focused on what I do. And I probably should act better sometimes, to be honest with you, but I really think the people up there really care. And I think we can all come together and work together and just put things aside and focus on one thing, the homeless. We could be very successful and it could spread. And I think we could be the spotlight of a community court. And I think it will, and other places will start doing it. We could be the blueprint. I've said that before. But I really believe in this, even though I did get kicked out of City Hall because I protested it. But, you know, people going to jail, so I'm like, I can't do that.
Thanks, Al, she's been a great partner.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm 110% in, I want to say, though, because I know some people are like, oh, I got kicked out and music, but I'm out of ideas myself, you know, and if this works, great, I'm on board 100%. And I think if we all just work together, we can do it. So that's all.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Definitely.
Any other questions? All right, appreciate everyone coming out tonight. We're gonna stick around. I'd love to get the contacts from you. And my email, I can pass it out if you have any other feedback or suggestions.
Jeff, just one thing, the multiple language thing is key, right? I mean, Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole, Spanish and English, those are the big four in Brockton. So, you know, my office has people who speak multiple languages, but we also have a consulting company called Key Lingo that we have under agreement, so we could utilize them in any capacity for this purpose.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you,
Makes
Sure.
sense.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Safe travels home.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
everybody.